After 60, eat these 5 foods daily to live longer. Science says they add years. Have you ever found yourself standing in the kitchen, staring at the fridge, and thinking, what on earth should I eat to keep feeling my best? You're not alone. As we get a little wiser, let's say past 60, our bodies start whispering, or sometimes shouting, that they need different fuel than they did decades ago. Maybe you've noticed your energy dips faster than it used to, or those afternoon aches feel a bit more stubborn. But here's the good news. Science has uncovered some everyday foods that aren't just good for you. They might actually help you add years to your life. And the best part, they're probably already on your grocery list, or at least they should be. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Another list of superfoods? Really? But stick with me. This isn't about trendy kale chips or expensive supplements. We're talking about simple, affordable foods that have been around for generations, foods your grandma might have served at the dinner table. The difference is, we now have decades of research showing just how powerful these choices can be for keeping your heart strong, your mind sharp, and your joints moving smoothly. And today, we're going to dive into the first 2 of these life-boosting foods. Let's start with something you've likely eaten 1,000 times, but might not fully appreciate. Leafy greens. Spinach, kale, Swiss chard. Those humble leaves tucked into the corner of your grocery store. You might toss them into a salad now and then, but what if I told you they're like a multivitamin grown straight from the earth? Studies from places like the National Institutes of Health have found that people who eat just 1 serving of leafy greens a day have slower rates of cognitive decline. That's right. Something as simple as a handful of spinach could help keep your memory crisp. But why? It's all about what's packed inside those leaves. Folate, vitamin K, magnesium, and antioxidants like lutein. These nutrients work together to fight inflammation, protect your blood vessels, and even keep your eyes healthy. And here's the thing. You don't need to overhaul your diet to get these benefits. My neighbor Margaret, who's 72, told me she starts her day with a scrambled egg mixed with a big handful of chopped spinach. It disappears into the eggs, she says. I don't even taste it. Or take a tip from my friend Carl, who blends a cup of frozen kale into his morning fruit smoothie. Tastes like a tropical vacation, he laughs. The point is, it doesn't have to be complicated. A few leaves here and there add up. Now, let's talk about something sweeter: berries. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. These little gems are like nature's candy, but with a superhero twist. Researchers at Harvard found that older adults who eat berries regularly have a lower risk of heart disease and better blood pressure numbers. And it's not just the heart they protect. Those vibrant colors come from antioxidants called anthocyanins, which studies suggest may slow down aging at the cellular level. But here's my favorite part. Berries are forgiving. Miss a day? No problem. Unlike some health trends that demand perfection, the science shows that even a few servings a week make a difference. Keep a bag of frozen berries in your freezer for days, when fresh ones aren't in season or are too pricey. Toss them into oatmeal, stir them into yogurt, or just eat a handful as a snack. My Aunt Ruth, who's 81, swears by her berry bowl every evening. A mix of blueberries and a square of dark chocolate. It's my dessert and my medicine, she says with a wink. Now, I can almost hear some of you saying, but what about sugar? Aren't berries too sweet? Here's the thing. Berries are low on the glycemic index, meaning they won't spike your blood sugar like a cookie or soda would. Plus, their natural sweetness can help curb cravings for less healthy treats. It's a win-win. So there you have it. 2 simple, delicious foods that science says can help you feel younger and live longer. But here's what's really exciting. These aren't standalone fixes. When you pair leafy greens and berries with the other foods we'll explore, they create a kind of synergy, a teamwork effect that's greater than the sum of its parts. Think of it like a choir. Each voice is lovely on its own, but together, that's when the magic happens. And the best part, none of this requires a complete diet overhaul. It's about small, sustainable shifts, a handful of spinach here, a sprinkle of berries there. Before you know it, these choices become habits, and those habits become a lifestyle. So why not start today? The next time you're at the store, grab a bag of frozen berries or a bunch of kale. Your future self, vibrant, energized, and thriving, will be so glad you did. Now, imagine building on this foundation with a few more everyday foods that science loves just as much. Because the truth is, longevity isn't about restriction or complicated rules. It's about leaning into the flavors and foods that love you back, one delicious bite at a time. You know, it's funny. Sometimes the simplest things in life have the biggest impact. Take that jar of nuts sitting in your pantry, for instance. You might reach for them when grandkids visit or during a cozy movie night. But what if I told you those little crunchies are doing more than just satisfying a snack craving? Science says they're quietly working overtime to keep your heart ticking strong and your mind as sharp as the day you learned to drive. And then there's another food, one that might take you back to summer evenings by the lake, casting a line with an old friend. But we'll get to that in a minute. Let's start with nuts and seeds. Walnuts, almonds, chia seeds, flax seeds, they're like tiny powerhouses packed with good-for-you fats, fiber, and protein. Now, I know some folks worry about the calories in nuts, but here's the thing. A small handful a day is all you need. Researchers at Loma Linda University found that people over 60 who ate nuts regularly had a 40% lower risk of heart disease compared to those who didn't. 40%. That's not just a number, it's more time. More time to play with great-grandkids, tend to your garden, or finally tackle that crossword puzzle habit. But how do they work their magic? It's all about those omega-3s and unsaturated fats. They're like a soothing balm for your arteries, keeping them flexible and clear. And let's not forget the magnesium, a mineral that's a natural stress reliever. My cousin Ed, who's 68, keeps a mix of almonds and pumpkin seeds in his truck. I snack on him during traffic jams, he says. Better than honking my horn. And if chewing nuts is tough for you, try grinding them into a powder and sprinkling it on oatmeal or soup. My friend Lorraine, who's had dentures for years, swears by almond butter stirred into her morning coffee. Tastes like a fancy latte. She grins. Now, let's shift gears to something that might surprise you. Fatty fish. Salmon, mackerel, sardines. The kinds of fish your dad might have packed for fishing trips. These aren't just nostalgic flavors. They're packed with omega-3 fatty acids, which studies show can slash inflammation, protect your brain from age-related decline, and even ease joint stiffness. In fact, a study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that older adults who ate fatty fish twice a week had a 20% lower risk of developing Alzheimer's. 20% fewer worries about forgetting where you put the keys. Sign me up. But wait, what if you don't love the taste of fish? I hear you. My brother-in-law, Frank, used to say salmon tasted too fishy. Then his doctor suggested brushing it with a little maple syrup and mustard before baking. Tastes like something from a fancy restaurant, he admits now. And if fresh fish isn't in the budget, canned salmon or sardines work just as well. Mash them into a sandwich with avocado and lemon, or toss them into a pasta dish. My neighbor Rosa, 79, mixes canned sardines into her mashed potatoes. The grandkids don't even notice, she whispers. Here's the beauty of these foods. They're not about deprivation. They're about adding more flavor, more joy, more life. Nuts and fish aren't just items on a list. They're invitations to get creative in the kitchen, to reconnect with old favorites, and to savor every bite. And here's what's really exciting. When you combine these with the leafy greens and berries we talked about earlier, you're building a kind of shield against aging. Think of it like a quilt made by your grandmother. Each patch, or food, is strong on its own, but stitched together, they create something warm, resilient, and lasting. Now, you might be wondering, what's the fifth food that ties all this together? Well, let me tell you. It's one that's been hiding in plain sight, sitting on shelves for centuries, waiting for its moment to shine. But trust me, by the time we're done, you'll see it in a whole new light and wonder how you ever lived without it. You've probably heard the saying, the best things in life are hidden in plain sight. Well, that couldn't be truer for our fifth and final food, the humble bean. Yes, beans. Those unassuming little nuggets tucked away in your pantry. The ones you might have ignored for years in favor of flashier ingredients. But let me tell you, science is shouting from the rooftops that beans, black beans, lentils, chickpeas, even the trusty pinto, are absolute rock stars when it comes to longevity. In fact, a study published in The Lancet found that people who ate beans daily had a 15% lower risk of early death. Not bad for something that costs less than a cup of coffee, right? Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Beans? Really? Aren't they gassy? Fair point. But here's the secret. Your gut just needs a little time to get acquainted. Start small, a spoonful or two a day, and work your way up. The fiber in beans is like a broom for your digestive system, sweeping out toxins and feeding the good bacteria in your gut. And a happy gut means a stronger immune system, better mood, and even smoother skin. My friend Harriet, who's 76, calls lentils her fountain of youth. She simmers them with garlic and tomatoes and says, "It's like a warm hug for my insides." But the magic doesn't stop there. Beans are packed with plant-based protein, which helps preserve muscle mass as we age, something crucial for staying active and independent. Plus, they're loaded with potassium to keep blood pressure in check and iron to fight fatigue. And here's the kicker, they're versatile. Don't like chili? Blend white beans into a creamy soup. Not a fan of salads? Toss chickpeas with olive oil and roast them until crispy. My buddy Joe, who's 81, mashes black beans into his burger patties. The grandkids think they're eating gourmet, he chuckles. Now, let's tie this all together. Think about the leafy greens, berries, nuts, fish, and beans we've talked about. Individually, they're powerful, but together, they're a symphony of nutrients working in harmony. The antioxidants in berries protect your cells, the omega-3s in fish keep your brain nimble, the fiber in beans support your gut, and the vitamins in greens nourish every corner of your body. It's like having a team of tiny repairmen inside you, fixing what's worn and polishing what's dull. And here's the best part. None of this requires a PhD in nutrition or a chef's apron. It's about leaning into the wisdom of simplicity. Take my Aunt Marge, who turned 90 last month. Her secret? A daily kitchen sink soup, whatever veggies, beans, and herbs she has on hand. It's never the same twice, she says, but it's always good. That's the spirit. Longevity isn't about perfection. It's about showing up for yourself, one nourishing bite at a time. So what's next? Well, now that we've uncovered all 5 foods, it's time to talk about how to weave them into your life, without stress or fuss. Because let's face it, the real secret to living longer isn't just what you eat, but how you enjoy it. Food is meant to be savored, shared, and celebrated. And when you choose ingredients that love you back, every meal becomes a step toward a brighter, bolder, more vibrant chapter of life. Stay tuned. We're about to bring this all home in a way that'll leave you feeling inspired, empowered, and maybe even a little hungry. Imagine this. You're sitting at your kitchen table, sunlight streaming through the window, a plate in front of you filled with colors so vibrant they could rival a summer garden. There's a handful of spinach peeking out from under a flaky piece of salmon, a sprinkle of walnuts toasted to perfection, a side of black beans simmered with garlic, and a few juicy strawberries dotted like rubies on the edge of the plate. This isn't just a meal, it's a celebration of flavor, of health, and of the simple joy of nourishing a body that's carried you through decades of laughter, challenges, and memories. This is what science-backed longevity looks like, and it's within your reach, one plate at a time. We've journeyed through 5 foods that research says can add years to your life. But let's be clear, this isn't about rigid rules or counting every gram. It's about embracing a mindset that says, I deserve to feel good, and I'm worth the effort. So let's tie this all together with grace, not guilt. Think of leafy greens as your daily multivitamin, nature's way of keeping your mind sharp and your heart steady. Berries? They're your sweet allies, fighting off invisible threats to your cells while satisfying that little craving for something bright and juicy. Nuts and seeds are your crunchy companions, whispering to your arteries, stay flexible, stay strong. Fatty fish swims in like an old friend, bringing brain-boosting gifts and a reminder of simpler times. And beans, oh, those humble beans, ground you, literally and figuratively, with their steady, sturdy promise of energy and vitality. Now, how do you make this work for you? Start small. Maybe swap out that morning toast for a spinach omelet twice a week. Keep a bag of frozen berries next to the ice cream. Reach for both, but let the berries win most days. Stash single-serving packets of nuts in your car, your purse, your jacket pocket. Let them be your safety net when hunger strikes. And fish. If fresh isn't your thing, grab a pouch of seasoned salmon from the pantry aisle. It's ready in seconds and tastes divine stirred into pasta or spread on crackers. As for beans, here's a tip from my 85-year-old Uncle Lou. Cook once, eat all week. He boils a big pot of lentils every Sunday, then adds them to soups, salads, or even his morning eggs. They're like little health insurance policies, he says. And if time is tight, canned beans are your hero. Just rinse them well, and you're golden. But let's address the elephant in the room. Life happens. Some days, you'll want a burger more than a salad. Some weeks, the grandkids' visits mean extra cookies in the house. And that's okay. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. My neighbor Ethel, who's 78, puts it perfectly. I eat my greens and berries every day, so I can enjoy my peach cobbler on Sundays without an ounce of guilt. Balance, not deprivation, is the key. Now, I want you to take a moment and picture yourself 6 months from now. How do you want to feel? Lighter on your feet? More energized for those long walks with the dog? Clearer-headed as you tackle your latest project? These foods aren't magic, but they're the closest thing we've got. They're your toolkit for a life that's not just long, but full of adventures, of loved ones, of mornings where you wake up and think, let's go. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, which of these foods are you already loving, and which ones will you try this week? Your tips might inspire someone else on this journey. We're all in this together. And if this video resonated with you, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to make sure you don't miss our next chat about thriving at any age. So here's to you, to your health, your joy, and the incredible years ahead. Remember, aging isn't about slowing down. It's about stepping into the wisdom of your years with the energy to savor every single one. Now, go grab a handful of berries, pop a few walnuts, and raise them high. Cheers to you, and to the vibrant life you're building, one delicious bite at a time.